All right, so get ready. We're diving deep into Hindu mythology.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, focusing on Manvantaras, as described in, you guessed it, the Brahma Purana.
Of course, a classic.
We've got this audio excerpt, and wow, it's a lot to unpack. But that's what we're here for, right? To break it down and, well, extract some cosmic wisdom.
That we are. I think the concept of Manvantaras gives us this really cool way to look at time and existence.
Oh, okay, so before we get too deep, what exactly is a Manvantara? I mean, the name itself sounds epic and kind of intimidating, honestly.
Right. It's massive. Imagine like a huge cosmic epoch ruled by a Manu.
A Manu.
Yeah, progenitor of humankind, like a chapter in the big creation story. Each one has its own cast of characters in all these events.
So it's not just a change of leadership. The whole cosmic set changes with each Manvantara.
Exactly. It's a total shift.
Okay, so how many of these Manvantaras are we talking about out here?
So the Brahma Purana says there are 14 Manvantaras.
Yeah.
And they all fit within a Kalpa.
Kalpa.
Which is, get this, basically a day of Brahma.
A day for Brahma. Okay, so that's theirs. Well, how long is a day for Brahma?
We're talking billions of years.
Billions. Okay. Wow, that really puts things in perspective. Suddenly, our human lifespans seem pretty, short.
Yeah, a bit fleeting, right. But it really highlights the vastness of time and this cyclical nature of how existence works, at least in Hindu mythology. And within this grand cycle, each Manvantara has its own unique set of details and stories.
All right, well, hold on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Can we walk through these Manvantaras like one by one? I'm really curious about which one we're in right now.
Oh, of course. Right now we're in the 7th Manvantara. It's called the Vaivasvata Manvantara.
Vaivasvata. Okay, getting personal now. So who's the ruler in charge during our time?
Our current Manu, the one calling the shots, so to speak, is Vaivasvata Manu. He's born from Surya, the sun god.
Okay, sun god, that tracks. So it's not just a Manu, right? There's got to be other, like, big players involved in a Manvantara.
Absolutely. Alongside Vaivasvata Manu, we have the Saptarishis.
The what are rishis?
The Saptarishis. They're the 7 sages. Think of them as guides, teachers, maintaining cosmic order. And some of their names might be familiar to you.
Oh, okay, lay it on me.
So we've got Atri, Vasista, Kashyapa, Gautama, Bharadvaja, Vishvamitra, and Jamadagni.
Ah, yeah, some of those I definitely recognize from, other stories from Hindu mythology. It's so cool how they pop up in different narratives.
Right. And that's just how connected all these figures are and how important they are throughout these vast cosmic cycles.
But it's not just the Saptarishis, right? There are, like, other devas, too. Gods and goddesses and such.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We've got the Satyas, the Rudras, the Vasus, the Adityas, the Ashwini Kumars, and more, all playing their specific roles, making sure everything stays in balance.
Wow, so it's like this huge cosmic play, a whole cast of characters. And we're, just experiencing one act, in a sense. But, okay, I gotta ask, what happens when, like, the curtain falls on our Manvantara? What comes next?
That's where things get extra interesting. The 8th Manvantara is going to be ruled by Savarji Manu, and his lineage is, well, it's a bit complicated.
Oh, I love complicated. Tell me more.
He's the son of Surya, the sun god, and Chaya.
Okay, Surya, again, makes sense. But who's Chaya?
So Chaya was actually created as a shadow image of Sanjna, Surya's wife.
A shadow image? Okay, now that sounds like a story waiting to be told. Lots of drama there.
There is. The Brahma Purana tells this whole tale about how Sanjna, she couldn't handle Surya's intense heat and brilliance, so she creates Chaya to, take her place, and that's how Savarji Manu was born.
All right, now that's a family tree I'd love to see charted out. So while we're here living it up in the Vaivasvata Manvantara, Savarji Manu, he's just, waiting in the wings for his turn to rule.
Well, not just waiting, he's actively preparing for his big role through, intense tapasya, spiritual practices, all this on Mount Meru.
Whoa, dedicated. So does that mean a future Manu, even one is so far off, is already impacting our Manvantara by what they're doing? Or is it more about getting ready for the next cycle?
That's a great question. And honestly, the Brahma Purana doesn't really give us a clear answer on that one.
Mysterious.
It is. But it does make you think about, cause and effect, but on a massive cosmic level.
Totally. Okay, so back to basics for a sec. If each Manvantara has a ruler and a specific lifespan, what happens at the very end of one? Does it just fade out?
Not quite. See, each Manvantara ends with pralaya. It's a period of dissolution, like a cosmic reset button. The universe contracts and goes back to, this unmanifested state. but it's not total destruction.
Oh, okay, good. So not the end of everything.
Not at all. The Brahma Purana, some devas and some of the Saptarishis, they actually survive pralaya. They carry the wisdom and the seeds of creation into the next cycle.
So it's not a hard stop, more like a transformation or reset. It's kind of like, I don't know, those forest fires that are actually essential for new growth, destruction, but it makes way for something new.
Perfect analogy.
Uh-huh.
And that really highlights this cyclical nature that the Brahma Purana describes, this constant process of creation, preservation, dissolution, and back to creation. And it all happens on such a vast scale, it's really hard for us to even grasp.
Yeah, I'm starting to get why even hundreds of years wouldn't be enough to truly describe all this. We've gone from cosmic kings to shadow wives to the entire universe doing this dance of destruction and rebirth. It's a lot to take in. I think we need a moment to just process all this.
Definitely.
We've covered so much in this first part of our deep dive, so let's take a break, absorb all this cosmic knowledge, and then we'll jump back in and explore even more of the specifics of these manvantaras.
Sounds like a plan. There are so many fascinating stories and figures to uncover. We'll continue our journey in a bit. Welcome back. Hope you had a minute to, let all those cosmic cycles sink in a bit.
Yeah, I'm still I'm still working on wrapping my head around the sheer scale of it all, but I'm definitely ready for more. So we left off talking about those future manvantaras, the ones ruled by what were those names?
The Savartis, Raucha, and Baucha.
Right, right. So does the Brahma Purana, does it give us any more details about them? Are there stories like as interesting as Savarjamanu's, with the whole shadow wife thing?
Well, what's really cool is how the text connects them back to figures we already know.
Right.
It creates this really intricate web of lineage across these cosmic cycles.
Oh, okay, so it's all connected.
Totally. Take the 5 Savarkamanis.
5? I thought there was just the one getting ready for that 8th manvantara.
Right, but there are actually 5 more after him. And they're not just copies of the first one. One of them is a direct descendant of, you guessed it, Surya.
Of course, Surya.
But the other 4, they're born from the lineage of the Prajapatis.
Prajapatis.
Yeah, the progenitors of creation.
Okay, so even with these repeating cycles, there's still this sense of, unique lineage and variation.
Exactly. It keeps things interesting.
For sure. So are those Prajapati-born Savaranchas, are they also doing some sort of cosmic prep work? Are they all hanging out on Mount Meru?
The Brahma Purana says yes. They're absorbed in deep meditation and spiritual practice, performing tapasya, just like the first Savaranchi Manu.
Wow, so much dedication. Talk about commitment. Okay, what about those other 2 Manus, Raucha and Baucha? Any interesting tidbits about them?
Yeah, so the text tells us that Rauchi Manu, he descends from Prajapati Ruchi.
Okay.
And Bauchi Manu comes from the lineage of Fuji, another son of Ruchi.
Ah, so more family connections. It's all a big cosmic family drama unfolding over billions of years.
Right. It really emphasizes how everything is interconnected, how there's this continuity across these vast epochs.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if there's some ripple effect happening, cause and effect spanning these immense periods.
Fascinating thought.
It is. Okay, but back to the immense part for a second. I'm still trying to grasp just how long a manvantara actually is. You mentioned each Manu rules for 1,000 Chaturyugas.
Right.
So how long is that in regular time?
Well, get ready for this. One Chaturyuga, it includes all 4 yugas. So Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali. And all of those together, they last for millions of years.
Millions.
So 1,000 Chaturyugas, we're talking billions of years.
Billions. It's just, I can't even...
Incomprehensible, right.
Totally. No wonder the Brahma Purana says even hundreds of years wouldn't be enough to truly describe all this.
It's true. It shows the limits of our human understanding of time.
Big time. But even if we can't fully grasp the scale, we can still appreciate all the amazing details within these stories.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that the Manvantaras, they're not just about the Manus. Each one has its own group of, those wise sages, the Saptarishis, who guide and teach.
Right, right. Those guys. So what about them? What happens to them?
They're super important. They maintain cosmic order. And they transmit knowledge across the Manvantaras. We talked about the Saptarishis in our current Manvantara, the Vaivasvaita Manvantara.
Yeah, Atri, Vasista, Vishvamitra, all those.
Exactly. But what's really interesting is that the Brahma Purana, it actually gives us the names of the Saptarishis for the 8th Manvantara, the one Savarchi Manu will rule.
Oh, wow. So we know who's coming up next.
And get this, some of the names might be familiar.
Okay, spill the beans. Who are these future sages?
All right, drum roll. It's Parashurama, Vyasa, Atreya, Phradvaja, Drona's son Ashwatthama, Gautama's descendant Shadvan, Galava from the lineage of Kushika, and Kashyap's son Arva.
Wait, hold on. Parashuram and Vyasa, I thought they were like figures from specific periods in Hindu mythology, like not future
Right,
sages.
but that's what's so cool about this. It shows us that these cycles, these manvantaras, they're not isolated. Figures we might think belong to one specific period could actually have roles that span multiple manvantaras.
Whoa, that's mind-blowing. So it's all interconnected, even across these vast stretches of time.
Exactly. It's like discovering these hidden connections in a giant tapestry,
Yeah.
and suddenly you see the whole picture, this bigger pattern.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Okay, so what about the Saptarishis from the previous Manvantara? What happens to them when it ends? Do they just disappear?
Well, the Brahma Purana says that during a manvantara, there are always 7 saptarishis, but only 4 of them move on to the next manvantara.
Oh, okay.
The other 3, once they've, fulfilled their duties, they get to transcend to Brahmaloka.
Brahmaloka. Sounds nice.
It is. It's a realm of pure bliss, total spiritual liberation, like a cosmic retirement plan.
Well deserved, for sure. Okay, what about the divas, the gods and goddesses who are like part of each Manvantara? What happens to them?
Oh, yeah. So each manvantara has its own group of divas.
Yeah.
And they play really important roles keeping that cosmic balance, like we talked about before in our current epoch. We have the Satyas, Rudras, Vasas, Adityas, and all that.
Right, right. So they change with each Manvantara, too. Like, it's not just the Manas and the Saptarishis who are different.
Nope, the whole scene changes. It's a total cosmic shift.
Wow, that's intense. So what happens to the divas who, like, don't transition to the next Manvantara?
The Brahma Purana describes it as like a merging process. During Pralaya, those divas, they merge back into Brahma, the creator god, along with the Aditya Gan, who represent like solar energies.
So they go back to the source, a cosmic homecoming.
Exactly. And then from that unity, a new creation emerges with a new set of divas. And the cycle begins again.
Wow. It's really a cycle of epic proportions.
It is. It's this continuous process of creation, preservation, dissolution, and then recreation, all happening on a scale that like really challenges how we think about time and existence.
Yeah, billions of years are starting to feel, I don't know, a bit more real now, even if it's still hard to actually grasp.
It's definitely humbling.
Totally. I'm really starting to understand why the Brahma Purana keeps saying that even hundreds of years wouldn't be enough to fully describe all of this.
It's true. It's a powerful reminder of just how vast creation is and how reality itself is cyclical.
Man, this deep dive has been quite a ride. We've traveled through, like, billions of years, met cosmic kings and shadow wives, seen the universe dissolve and be reborn, and we've encountered these sages who, like, transcend time and space.
It's been quite the journey.
It really has. It's remarkable.
And there's still more to explore. We've just scratched the surface of these manvantaras.
Yeah.
The whole tapestry of Hindu mythology is just so vast and intricate. But I think maybe it's time for another little pause.
Yeah, good idea. I need to catch my breath.
When we come back, we'll wrap up our exploration. We'll share some final insights and, reflect on what these cosmic cycles might mean for us in our lives.
All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Manvantaras. Wow, exploring these cosmic cycles has really been humbling.
It does make you think, doesn't it? The vastness of it all. Time, existence, all those cycles. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, no kidding. But okay, before we wrap up, I kind of want to bring it back down to, Earth. Like, what can we as humans living in this little blip of time within the Vaivasvata Manvantara, what can we actually take away from all of this? Does it have any practical relevance for us today?
That's a really good question. It's easy to get lost in the big picture, and forget how these concepts can actually give us insights into our everyday lives.
Okay, so what kind of insights are we talking about?
Well, for one, these manvantaras, with their cycles of creation, preservation, and dissolution, they're a powerful reminder that change is just a natural part of existence. Just like the universe goes through these cycles, our lives have periods of growth, stability, transformation, the whole deal.
So instead of being afraid of change, we can try to embrace it. Like, it's just a part of life. Kind of like those Saptarishis, transitioning to that new state of being.
Yeah, exactly. The Manvantaras teach us that endings, they aren't always the end. They can be new beginnings, opportunities for growth and renewal. And that can be, I think, a pretty comforting thought when things get tough.
That's a good point. It really is. And thinking about those future Manus, how they're all diligently preparing for their roles, makes me think, what can we learn from their, dedication, their foresight.
It shows how important it is to keep improving ourselves
Yeah.
and to be prepared, even for things that seem far off, like Manu. He's spending all this time getting ready for his future reign. And we can do the same thing, right? Cultivate our inner strength, our knowledge, be ready for whatever challenges and opportunities come our way.
So it's not just about, waiting around for things to happen. It's about actively shaping our own future. Kind of like those future Manus up there on Mount Meru.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that growth, learning, it never stops. It's not just for some far-off time, but for navigating the present,
Mm.
for living a more, meaningful life.
And that makes me think about the Saptarishis too, those wise sages who are there to guide humanity through each Manvantara. They emphasize mentorship, right?
Yeah.
And how important it is to pass on knowledge from one generation to the next.
Yes, just like those Saptarishis, they carry the wisdom of the past into the future. We can learn from those who came before us, and then when it's our turn, share our own knowledge to help guide the next generation. It's a beautiful cycle, just like the grand cycles of the Manvantaras.
Man, this whole deep dive it's been incredible. We've explored billions of years, met all these fascinating figures from Hindu mythology, and learned these profound lessons about change, about preparing ourselves, and the power of, sharing knowledge and helping each other. It's been really eye-opening, to say the least.
I agree. It's been fascinating. I hope everyone listening has found it as insightful as we have.
Absolutely. And as we wrap things up here, I'm left feeling, I don't know, a mix of humility and wonder. Humility when I think about the vastness of creation, and wonder at the potential for growth and transformation that each new cycle brings.
That's a perfect way to put it. And as we end our deep dive into the Manvantaras, I want to leave everyone with one final thought. So, Savaraj Manu, he's working hard, preparing for his kind of rule billions of years from now. But what about us? What are we doing, each of us and all of us together, to prepare for the future, right here in this Manvantara? What knowledge, what wisdom are we cultivating to create a brighter future for ourselves and for everyone who comes after us?
Wow, that's a powerful question. It really makes you think. And a huge thank you to you for guiding us through these sometimes confusing cosmic waters. Your insights have been invaluable.
My pleasure. It's been a great conversation.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the Manvantaras. Keep exploring this amazing world of Hindu mythology. It's full of such incredible stories and wisdom. Until next time, keep seeking, keep learning, and keep diving deep.